Hey, the Love Cup is back in Pokemon Go, and today I wanted to try to build a team around Scrafty. Scrafty is a very strong Pokemon in this meta, but it also has a lot of targets on its back, that being Medichams, Charizards, and Charmers. So, in order to make Scrafty work, we gotta build a strong team around it. So one of the best Pokemon to pair with it is going to be Charizard. Charizard having the Fire Flying typing is going to allow it to beat Pokemon like Wigglytuff and Medicham. Now what's also cool about Scrafty is it can beat a lot of the counters that take down Charizard, such as Magcargo, Alomomola, and Electorde. So right here, we have a solid core, but we need a safe swap that can meld this team together. It needs to be able to defeat Pokemon that counter Charizard while also applying shield pressure in the mid game. We're gonna go with Electorde. Volt Switch, Discharge, and Hyper Beam. Has really good coverage on this meta, and the Hyper Beam can surprise a lot of Pokemon and sometimes one-shot them. Now that we have the team built for the Love Cup, let's see how we do. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Charizard on the lead versus Electorde. So this is a bad lead matchup. We're going to go ahead and swap into our own Electorde there and start getting ahead on energy, and they're deciding to stay in. So this tells me they might be weak in the back, and they also threw on 3 Volt Switches, which means it's just going to be a Foul Play or a Discharge. They're the same energy. Now we do see a swap out into Gyarados right here, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the Hyper Beam. This is the surprise factor. Boom! Nearly one-shots the Gyarados, and we can safely farm down, and we will shield this charge move because we want to align our Scrafty to the Electrode and Charizard to whatever their third Pokemon is. And this is how deadly an Electrode safe swap can be. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to the next Hyper Beam in time, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Discharge, but we get a shield anyways, so they were already very concerned about what I just did to their Gyarados, so now they gave up a shield, which is perfect for us. They're going to go ahead and throw the Foul Play as well, and now we have even shields and a Scrafty aligned to Electrode. I don't necessarily need to shield this first charge move because it's just going to be a Discharge, and I don't know what that final Pokemon is. We're going to go ahead and look to load up on energy, and now throw the Foul Play. Again, Electrode takes 3 Volt Switches to get to its first charge move, so we were able to load up a little bit extra right there, and the final Pokemon is actually going to be a Slowbro. And this is what's really cool about Scrafty in this meta. Confusion isn't going to do too much damage. We also have Foul Play. This does super effective damage against the Psychic typing there on Slowbro, so we're going to go ahead and get a shield and throw the next Foul Play. Now, we don't want to get farmed down right here and give them any extra energy, so we're going to go ahead and swap out right away into Charizard, and we should be able to fast move down, and we do, so we can safely shield right here. So, the big takeaway right there was our Electrode safe swap did very well against their team. We got the Hyper Beam, we got shields, we took switch advantage. All right, we got a Druddigon here on the lead, and this is a tough one. The Dragon Tail damage from this Pokemon is insane, but thankfully Charizard has Wing Attack and Dragon Claw here, which is going to be very spammy, which means we're going to get shields. Now, just looking at the remaining health that I do have, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to 2 more Dragon Claws, so I'm probably going to have to let their next charge move go through. I might actually get farmed down here as well. But if they happen to throw the charge move here, I can't, yeah, they do decide to shield. I can't make it to the next one in time. So they do have a lot of energy. We have to come in with Scrafty. The Dragon typing there is going to be resisting Electrode's fast moves, so I need to come in with Scrafty. And we don't know what the final Pokemon is in the back, so I don't necessarily want to give up on a shield because it could just be hard counters to Scrafty, which means I'd rather have shields for Electrode. So I'm going to go ahead and go for Power Up Punch, hoping this is going to do just enough damage to take it out, but it's not. Oh my goodness, that was so close. So we're going to have to let this next one go through as well, because I'm going to rely on Electrode to try to sweep this game. Now, they have their own Electrode in the back, so this is actually very good for us considering we have shield advantage, and I know a Hyper Beam will one-shot them. So we're going to go ahead and give up a shield here because this could be Hyper Beam, but it was just a Discharge. So now we got to be very careful. We're going to go ahead and go for the Hyper Beam, but they make a great swap into Gyarados, but, I mean, it's got no shield. So it's going to be catching this boom right here. My goodness, Hyper Beam feels so good to land. We will be able to fast move down as well, but we barely don't get there in time as they do land the lunge here, which is going to be lowering our attack, and their Electrode has a charge move ready to go. This is very, very unfortunate for me, but my Scrafty has just enough health left where if I can get to this foul play in time with 1 HP and a dream, we are going to be able to pull it off. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. That was a very close one, and thankfully Electorde was able to help us out there. All right, we got Magcargo on the lead. This is a tough one. Magcargo leads are very tough to come back from. We're going to go ahead and go for Electorde here, and they got a Wigglytuff in the back. Now, this is kind of like worst case scenario team. Why is that? Well, if there's one Wigglytuff in the back, there's probably going to be another Charmer, and on paper, we cannot beat that team. So even though we will get shield advantage right here, and I'm hoping that we can land this discharge, but if we get 2 shields from them, which we do, I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this one off. Charizard right here has great damage and resistances here against the Wigglytuff, but it can't do anything to a Magcargo. It literally can't. It's going to be chipping away small amounts of health. So we're going to go have to shield this Ice Beam as well because that would do a lot of neutral damage. And now we have to overload on energy. Since we are resisting Charm, we got to make sure we have a little bit of energy coming out of here and pray that they don't have another Charmer in the back. If they do, there's nothing I can do to win. I swap out right away, and it is a Clefable in the back. So sometimes this is going to happen. You're going to be facing teams that you can literally do nothing against. Now, if you want a if you want a chance to win against this team, you're probably going to have a Medicham. Well, I mean, obviously have counters for their team. But if you're looking at this and go, okay, I don't have a Scrafty, maybe try Medicham right there as well. It works in place of Charizard, but in place of Scrafty. But unfortunately, we just got we got a hard counter right here. There's nothing you can do in this matchup in order to win. And just to showcase how much this Magcargo resists, it's ridiculous. Blast Burn does nothing. Even if I went for Dragon Claw there, we wouldn't have done any damage. So that's a good game. Unfortunately, just got hard countered. All right, moving to the next one, we got Charizard versus Wormadam Trash. So this is looking like a very positive lead for us. They decide to swap out in Milotic, so we're going to come in with the Electrode right away. Now, reading what we see right here, we saw Wormadam on the lead. We saw Milotic safe swap. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Lomomola in the back, a double water. This Love Cup loves to have the double typing. So you might have double fires in the back, double waters, double charmers, double fighters, right? You could have Medicham and Scrafty back there. So this is just what I've noticed. So we're going to go ahead and look to actually no shield this. I don't think I would have made it to, we got 2 shields from them. So what I'm actually going to do is rely on Scrafty right here in order to close this game out. Because we don't take too much damage from Confusion from the Wormadam. And if there is a Lomomola in the back, Scrafty should be able to do a lot of work against it. So let's see what they decide to come in with. Again, getting 2 shields right there from Electrode was pretty good, and it also tells me that they have a Lomomola in the back, and they do come in with Wormadam Trash. So we're going to go ahead and go for Foul Play right here, and that just does a lot of damage. As you guys can see, we're taking this thing out. We're going to go ahead and go for Power Up Punch now. Maybe I should have gone for Power Up Punch first and then Foul Play, but it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and shield. I thought I might have been able to commit to the farm down, but I realized I actually needed a power-up punch in order to ramp up my counter damage right here. And let's see what that final Pokemon is. It is, in fact, a Lomomola, so we're going to go ahead and go for Foul Play. Now, I could swap out into Charizard, but I actually need the additional counter damage right there in order to get a Lomomola low enough. And it is a shiny as well, so that's a good flex on them. But this is what's cool about Charizard is even though a Lomomola, which is very heavy in HP, it can still take a lot of damage from Blast Burn, even though it is resisted. So we're going to safely shield right here and farm down. And that is looking to be a good game. Very well played. So even though they took switch advantage against us with Milotic in the mid game, we're still able to overcome because of the damage that Charizard can do. All right, we got Lurantis on the lead. It's really positive lead here. We do see a Lickitung, so we're going to come in with Scrafty right away, and we're going to go ahead and go for Power Up Punch to ramp up our counter damage. And since Lurantis is a grass typing, we're going to be able to do a lot of neutral damage with counter and foul play on the back end of this, and we don't necessarily have to shield here. We're resisting the licks, and Body Slam doesn't do too much, so we're just going to fully counter down. So this is actually going to be really good for us. Now, I could potentially shield this Body Slam knowing that the Lurantis isn't going to be able to do that much damage, but I'm like, okay, that seems like a decent amount of health in order to put some work in against Lurantis. So we're going to go ahead and go for another power-up punch here. My hope is that we get a shield thinking it's going to be foul play, but they actually let it go, which is very interesting. So now I'm going to go ahead and go for a foul play here. This is definitely going to be getting a shield, and my counter damage is going to be out of control. Now, Lurantis, I believe, has Leaf Blade and Superpower. So every charge move is going to be resisted. They swap into Magcargo, so now we swap into Electrode. And that's what I also wasn't too worried about Lurantis getting energy, because it's going to go nowhere. Charizard's going to heavily resist it. Like I said, Leaf Blade and Superpower, so we're looking very good. We have a 2-to-1 shield advantage here against Magcargo, and we can safely go for discharges. And we gotta get rid of this thing quickly, because any rock throw damage against Charizard is going to be deadly. So we need to make sure that we land these charge moves as fast as possible before that switch clock comes back up, because if they can bail out, we got to shield this as well. Again, we're not worried about the energy on the Lurantis because Charizard will resist it. We just need to get this Magcargo out of there, and thankfully we do. Now, I do believe that was actually Incinerate instead of Rock Throw, so my bad. But that's okay. We can just safely swap into Charizard, and they do surrender. All right. Good game. Moving to the next one. We got Charizard on the lead versus Medicham. Okay, very positive lead right here, and let's see what they decide to bring in. They're going to go ahead and look to stay in. Nope, they do swap into Lickitung, so we're going to go ahead and bring in the Scrafty. This is like a win-win situation right here. We get a nice matchup with Scrafty versus Lickitung, and we also keep Scrafty away from Medicham potentially in the late game. We'd rather have Electrode face off against that if we have to, but we're going to go ahead and go for another power-up punch right here and look to farm down. That way our foul play does more damage against Medicham on the back end. We're also going to no shield right here. I don't want Medicham to farm us down for a lot of energy. We got to be careful about that. So we're going to go ahead and counter down. And now we have a foul play ready to go. Medicham is Psychic Fighting, which means it actually takes neutral here from foul play, as the fighting resists it and the psychic takes super effective. And since we did do a power-up punch, this is actually going to do a lot of damage. That's a beautiful amount of damage right there for us. We're going to go ahead and come in with Charizard and look to go for the Dragon Claw right away. I want to put the fear into them that this is a Blast Burn. Granted, I was one fast move away, but we get the shield regardless, which is perfect. So we're going to go ahead and actually let this go through. If it's a Psychic, fine, we can survive, but it was just a power-up punch. Beautiful. Now we see a swap out into Charizard, and we just hard countered them. Like I said, sometimes this happens. Remember when we had the Magcargo double charm that just locked us down? Well, on the reverse side, you will lock down teams as well, such as Medicham, Charizard, and Lickitung. So this is going to be a good game, very well played. There's really not a lot of wiggle room they have in order to win this one, because now I can just farm them down, safely shield this, and actually look to close this game out with a Hyper Beam, which you guys know I will love to do. So we're going to go ahead and stop that Dragon Claw. In comes the Medicham. I could go for Discharge and just end the game, but why? Why not go for the Hyper Beam? For the Hyper Boom. Now they go ahead and go for a Power-Up Punch, which is fine, but we're going to go for the Hyper Beam here to close this one out. That's going to be a good game, very well played. Boom! Down goes the Medicham. I love Hyper Beam on Electrode. It's so much fun. All right, Charizard versus Alomomola. Okay, we got to swap out right away, and we're going to go into Electrode. Again, Scrafty can still do well against it, and what was the whole idea with this team? Well, the Electrode hard counters a lot of the counters that we have against Charizard, but it also could draw out a Medicham because they want to keep it away from Charizard, right? And it can win this matchup against Electrode. So we're just going to go ahead and keep going for Discharge right here to do as much chip damage as we can. We already got a shield, which is perfect, and I think this is just going to be a power-up punch. So we're going to go ahead and let it go and look to try to see if we can get to one more discharge in time, but we can't. So now we're going to come in with Charizard, and this is going to be the scary part right here. They did a power-up punch, which means if a Psychic lands, it's going to do a lot of damage, but also I think Scrafty might be our best play to try to win this game. So I let the Psychic go through. That's a ton of damage. I have a Dragon Claw loaded. I'm going to swap into Scrafty instantly, like as fast as possible. I'm swapping into it. Alomomola comes in, and the final Pokemon is going to be Gyarados. So this is actually going to be a tough one to come back from, because Gyarados with the lunge debuff is going to be very hard to overcome. Now, we did land the foul play there, which is huge, and I also have to double shield everything. Scrafty is the only Pokemon I have left. Granted, I still have Charizard, but like, that thing's going to go down to 1 Poison Sting. So we're going to go ahead and go for a Power Up Punch now. Again, I have to double shield right here, hoping that we get a shield with Power Up Punch as well. Switch Clock is coming back up, and remember, I banked a Dragon Claw. So my hope is that before they can get to the next charge move, the Switch Clock will be up. But unfortunately, it's not, and I go for the foul play, and it was a CMP tie. So this is gonna hurt, as the lunge will land for neutral damage, and we do get the foul play off. So now what I need to do is, because I've been debuffed so much, I need to swap into Charizard and look to go for the Dragon Claw right here, so that I can do as much chip damage as possible. But this Alomomola still has a good amount of energy, and I don't think Scrafty is going to be able to get to the foul play in time. Oh my! No, we don't get to it in time. They do get the charge move off, and oh man, they blizzard me. Oh, boom! Goodness, good game. Close one. All right, moving to the next one, we got Charizard versus Gyarados on the lead. Okay, so very positive for us. We're going to see them swap out into Electrode, so we're going to bring in the Scrafty right away. Scrafty can do well in this matchup. We just have to watch out for the Hyper Beam. But thankfully, they did not build up to 5, so we're going to go ahead and let the Discharge go through. And now we're going to look to go for the foul play right here. If we get a shield from them, we can still counter them down. But if they let this go, we get a shield. Okay, that's fine. We'll go ahead and go for another foul play here. This is going to be CMP tie, so we will give up a shield. And if we can get 2 shields from them, that's fine by me too. I'll come in and load up energy with Electrode, because we saw what Hyper Beam can do against the Gyarados in previous battles. So foul play does land. And now we've maintained switch advantage, kept ourselves low health so the Gyarados can't farm up too much energy, but Poison Sting doesn't do that much damage, which means we get to the foul play in time. This chip damage is going to be very, very helpful for us, because it's going to get the Gyarados below 50% HP. Now, Gyarados having Cross Poison, you guys do not want to sleep on it. It can do a lot of damage against a Charizard. As you can see, that's like 30-40% right there. It is no joke, but we got to be careful about them swapping out as well. So the second Cross Poison lands, and they do swap out into Magcargo, which was Rock Throw, and our Charizard barely survived. But if you noticed, we saved a Dragon Claw. There is 1 banked right there. So we're going to go ahead and shield this charge move. We're going to have to go for back-to-back discharges. Do not go for a Hyper Beam against Magcargo. It's going to do way less damage than you think. So we got to go for discharge here, as it is neutral damage. They let it go. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and go for the second one. And it's going to be a race to the 3rd charge move right here. And I think we might just be able to make it in time. Let's see if we can get there. Oh my goodness. With another 1 HP and a dream, taking out the Magcargo, and we will see Gyarados come in and farm us down, and we're going to be spamming Dragon Claw right now as we get it with 1 health point remaining. And that is going to be a good battle, very well played. This team was a lot of fun to use. I think it did well against the meta, but obviously you get hard countered by double charm teams, which just happens. But overall, I was really impressed with it. Pokemon that you guys may already have, and if you haven't built any of these yet, I think they're all awesome in the Great League as well. But Electrode has been, anytime there's a special cup with Electrode being available, it has been a strong Pokemon for it. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.